were a nice intro. That's live footage that from the promotion party back in May last year, and I thought it'd be a nice way to get us back into this. That's the day after that. Funnily enough, is the last time that actually recorded anything to do with a City event or podcasting whatsoever. So yeah, we're back. We're going to give it another go. Slightly different in the way I want to do it. Got some different people, as you'll see, for those that are watching this on the video format. Got a bit of an agenda that we're going to go through and just have a bit of fun with it, really. Talk about Bradford City as we go through and just not take ourselves too seriously. So I'll go from across my screen down and then across to the bottom. So first of all, I've got Ash with me. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, good man. Just tell us briefly about yourself. And I mean, you don't have to tell them what job you do, but how long you've been following City, that sort of stuff, where you sit.
Started supporting first season ticket about 9 years old in Premier League, and basically seen us go down and down on a spiral ever since. City cop.
Interesting times in that proper roller coaster of a ride, definitely, mate. Definitely. Same sort of age as me, so yeah, for sure. Also joined by Leon.
All right, Adam. Thanks for having me on as well. My City life then, I started coming about 78, but started coming regularly in the 85 championship year. And I've been going ever since, really, with a few breaks here and there when I've moved away or whatever. But yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. And lots has happened in that time. But you sat there with the 94 away shirt. Is it the away or the third away
It's
shirt?
the away, yeah.
Did they do thirds in them days?
No, not really. So this is like when Dean Richards played for us and we played Norwich City in the League Cup. We beat them at home and then they battered us at their place. But yeah, got a few nice comments on North Parade for the Fleetwood game, so I thought I'd wear it tonight. Yeah,
it's a beauty. It looks immaculate and all, mate. It might be worth a few quid, that, but I'm sure that don't cross your mind.
No, luckily, extra larges were in fashion back then. If you remember, footy shirts used to be massive, so it still fits me.
Yeah, so you've grown into it almost. I like it. And talking about big gentlemen, we're also joined by Al.
Great to speak to you, Adam. Yeah, what an intro.
Yeah, welcome along, mate. Just a bit about yourself, if you can.
Pretty similar to Leon, really. Been going since late 80s, or late 70s, should I say. Same sort of thing, had a few breaks, family, work, things like that. Got back into it when my young one turned about 8. So his first game was the 2013 playoff final.
Lawrence supporter.
Okay,
most definitely.
Yeah.
Same as me, to be fair, though.
Looking up. Is it?
Same as me, yeah. My lad were born in 2007, just as we got relegated to 4th Division. And then he were old enough to start going when we got good again. Quite handy, really, you know.
They don't know the bond to do with things from stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, missed a lot of shit in that time, Ash, didn't they, before 2013?
Yeah, my brother's been at Chelsea and everything and all cup finals, like, didn't have to go through struggles we have.
Yeah, no, they've had it good, haven't they, this young lot, I tell you. Yeah. Right, so thank you for that. Welcome along to all of you. So I think first of all, we might as well touch on the game that's just gone. So Cardiff at home. Obviously, we went down there and panned them 3-1. It was brilliant. Some away day as well for any of you that went. Such an experience. Game of two halves, really, on Saturday. They absolutely did it first half. And second half, we come out and give them a bit of a go, but it just wasn't quite enough. And it seemed like we weren't clinical enough. We hadn't got that finisher. Humphrys had a few goals, but he seemed to take one touch too many. What are your thoughts on Cardiff, guys? Whoever wants to start, just come in and let me know.
Yeah, I think you've probably summed it up there, really. You know, they were like irresistible passing first 20 minutes. Like, you couldn't get near them. Once we settled into it, like, quite unlucky we didn't get a point, really. And you can argue over a couple of penalty shouts as well.
Yeah, I agree. One of the positives I thought were Neufville, however you want to pronounce it, not bothered. I thought he found his mojo again a bit because he struggled at start season. I thought he was flying. I think we all did, and we're like, "Wow, what have we got here?" And then he sort of went off boil a bit. Halliday got back in. I know you're a big fan of Halliday, Ash.
Yeah.
But he just seemed to be back to his old self, like taking men on, and then it took him off, and I were a bit like, what? To be fair, Ashby, when he came on, had a good game, but you'd be thinking of more looking at that other flank at the time. I don't know what your thoughts on that were, Leon. I can see you nodding, mate.
Yeah, I thought that were a bit odd as well, but then it occurred to me, did he bring Ashby and White on the same side, seeing as they were both debutants, big game, you know, they know each other, they'll train together, won't they? So I wonder if that were his rationale for taking Nerval off. But I agree, he were back to what we saw at the start of the season, definitely.
Sibley as well, split opinion a little bit. I thought he left a lot to be desired personally. I felt like he was quite negative. He kept coming back with the ball and didn't really seem to want to take his man on. But again, he's come on at that sort of wing back position, and is he more of a central player? I don't know. I'm not that impressed by him as yet. I think I were expecting a bit more because obviously stepped down a level, and he seems a bit like a Lapsley Mark II. Al, thoughts?
Haven't seen enough of him yet to really judge what he can and can't do. I don't even know what his role is, really.
Exactly. I think that's my point.
I thought the game mirrored quite a few games I've seen this season where there wasn't a lot between the sides. And I don't think there's a standout side in the division this year. And I can include Cardiff in that as well. I think they're the best side, but they don't stand out a lot. Yeah, they passed well in first half, but second half, we weren't that far off them, really.
Yeah, we put it on him. We were a better team by far, I thought, second half. I think some people might have taken it a bit far, saying we probably deserve more out of the game, but we just didn't put chances away. But that's been happening a lot of late. And it just shows how much we need a number 9, and we'll come on to transfer window. But any other thoughts from anybody on the Cardiff game in general? It feels like we want to sort of move on and forget about it because we got beat, but I thought we did all right. I don't think we embarrassed ourselves against a team that will go and win the league, let's be honest. But any other thoughts from that game?
People sort of, it's almost that bipolar thing where we win a game, we're going to go up, we lose a game, we're not going to be in playoffs. It grates a little bit sometimes. Alexander's got us playing a decent way. We don't create a lot, but defensively we're pretty sound. And we've got to look at the balances. Everybody wants us to bring more exciting players in at this moment in time, but really we're built on defence. We defend from the front, and that's what we're built on. We're not built on creativity or anything like that. If you try to change the way we're playing now to try and play a Cardiff way, things like that, I'm not sure we're going to do it. So I'd stick with what we do.
Do you think that I'll come to you in a minute, Ash, because I know you got something to say, but I feel like we're in between of being quite happy as to where we are based on being promoted from last season. I think some fans are probably a little bit too much saying, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. But then on the other half, you're thinking, this is going to be the best opportunity we're going to have, and I've had in years of getting out of League One. So should we expect a little bit more?
Yeah, it's a really strange season, really. Like you say, we've come up, no one expected to be where we are, but now we need to grab it with both hands, really, don't we? And basically, like you say, it's the best chance we've ever had. Just back to Cardiff. Yeah, I wasn't sure why Nerval went off, but then I thought Ashby looked brilliant, to be fair. And he's doing alt media this week, so he might even be starting on Saturday,
Wouldn't be surprised, would it? Because they don't often do that, do they? Unless they are playing. And I panicked, to be honest, at the end, because I thought he's done it. He's done his ACL or something here because he didn't get up, did he? And you're thinking at that point in a game, you're not wasting time, are you? You're thinking there's something wrong there, but supposedly he's absolutely fine, which is great. I think when he came in, the writing were on the wall, won it sadly for Halliday. And Ash, I'll come back to you here because I know you're a big fan. Do you think that that's the right time or bad business to get let Halliday go?
He's got a good deal, hasn't he, really, at Dundee, 2.5 years. So I'd have liked him to stay, but he got to think of himself, hasn't he, really? If Alexander don't fancy him going forward, then it's good for all parties, isn't it, really?
I think it shows that we're progressing as a club as well, that we're trying to replace with better. And I think that's the Ashby sort of thing that they're looking at. You've got a player that's been playing consistently in Championship that's coming in, that plays the way that he likes, that sort of on the front foot, fast, nippy sort of fullback. And Halliday's obviously aging a bit, and let's be fair. So I was sad to see him go because he's been Mr. Consistent, and for the last few seasons, along with Andy Cook, another one who left this window. But to me, it felt like the right time. Anything to add on that, Leon?
Just quickly on Halliday, I think he's a right back, and not a wing back, and he did manfully last year. Did really, really well playing at a position that's not really quite suited him, and he's a great character, isn't he? Remember he's got his winner at Salford and stuff. He popped up with a few nice goals and stuff. But I think it's probably the right thing for all concerned. But just on Cardiff, I think they're definitely the best team we've seen. But I think it's a third division thing that they were brilliant for 20 minutes, and then they were, they couldn't maintain it, could they? But I think the biggest positive we can take out of it is the fact that we had the character to stand up and come back. So maybe they took the foot off the gas for the back end of the first half, but second half we came out and we pinned them back. Now, as we've already said, we didn't create a right lot, and that's obviously something that needs looking at. But we all know there's been plenty of City teams in the past that had wilted in that situation and had gone on to concede more. So I think it's a positive that the defensive unit got themselves together and managed to get us further up the pitch, basically. So I wasn't too disheartened, to be perfectly honest.
I think one thing about Alexander's teams or with us, I can't from memory remember us capitulating in any game where we saw it all the time, didn't we, under sort of Derek Adams, Mark Hughes, people like that, where we might score a goal, but then we just totally go to shit. But from memory, maybe Milton Keynes last season at the early doors, were it? Or maybe it's season, I can't remember. But I can't, apart from that, it's hard to pick a game out where we've just totally thrown it away. Which says a lot, really, like you say, about the way that he sets up and what Al touched on before. Just picking up again on something you said there about creating, finishing chances, that kind of stuff. It kind of leads us nicely onto the transfer window. So obviously that's wide open. We've probably seen more business out than in, and some quite key players, favourites going. We've touched on Holiday, obviously Cook's left, Pattison as well. We've seen McIntyre go back to Portsmouth. Was there any more that I've missed? Is that the 4? That's right, isn't it?
I think there were 5. Am I just imagining that? I read something today, but it were McIntyre plus some permanent. So yeah, you're right, 4.
Yeah, I'm thinking now. I thought it was 5 in all, but let's go on that proviso. And then, so you've got to remember that there's a fee there for Pattison, whatever that is. There's 3 wage sets coming off as well, really, from Pattison, Cook, and Halliday, and also the wage from McIntyre. And there's the sell-on clause from Jake Young. It probably will be quite nominal, to be honest. And there's also the gates from Newcastle that people are forgetting about. Quite a bit of money there that we're sitting on, or it seems we are. I know we've brought in Sibley, Ashby, and White, but you wouldn't imagine that they'd be on mega money, really, as loans. We'd be paying a percentage, I imagine. So there's a pot there, surely, to be spent. Do you think that we're going to make moves this window, or do you think it's going to be very much some loans from the Premier League and that'll be that? Shrek, I'll come to you first.
I've always thought it'd be loans. We only had one loan in the beginning, didn't we, McIntyre? So we've got plenty of scope with loans. And January is generally it's not a great time to buy players or speculate, really, because the price goes up. So I don't think they're going to break any wage structure or anything like that, or go crazy with signings. I think Alexander likes the unit that he's got. I don't know. I'd like to see us push the boat out, but I just got a feeling it won't be. Because what position are we going to push the boat out in, really? What position you think maybe centre forward? Yeah, but he seems to likes what Humphrys does up there, doesn't he? Even though he doesn't score, he seems to like the role that he plays.
Do you not think that in that case we need to get some backup number 10s? Because you look at Sarcevic, he's broken down plenty of times before. His legs, he's getting older. He's probably the one against Cardiff that probably worked the hardest out of everybody. But I just think that after a certain point, it's just going to come to a head with him. And if he's off the pitch, we struggle, don't we? We've seen it in most games this season when he's not played. Him and Baldwin, I think there's a stat that if they've not played, we've pretty much lost. So as well as that striker position, which pretty sure we've signed Ethan Wheatley, from what I've been told, and that everybody, all the journalists have got it. Sky, it's on Sky. So that's tall, strong number 9 in there. Maybe unproven because he's not really pulled up any trees at Northampton. But I think I'd like to see number 10s come in, or number 8s, whatever you want to call them. But then sort of forward attacking midfield wingers that Poynton and Sarcevic play, because I also think Poynton looked a little bit off it on Saturday, and I don't think that being too reliant on him's his best bet either. Leon, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, it takes us back to what you said about Sibley, because I wasn't that impressed with him on Saturday against Cardiff, but I had no inclination that he was going to come in as a left wing back. So I don't know if that's like a bit of mitigation for him. But I'd assumed that he was signed as like an attacking midfielder and would therefore be looking at those, those wide positions, or maybe like if he switches it up with Metcalf and Power and needs somebody who's a bit more progressive thinking, although Metcalf can do that. So yeah, I think you make a good point. I think we do need a striker to come in, don't we? Because we've lost one of the best ones we've ever had, irrespective of whether he's on the downward curve, etc. But yeah, I think we just need a bit of extra quality at that top end. This is sort of maybe going off at a tangent, but one of my biggest criticisms of Alexander is the fact that he makes the pitch massive all the time when we've got the ball. But if you watch other teams that we play against, they'll do that. But then if they go long, they compress it. So we're basically knocking balls up to Swan or Humphrys, and there's nobody within 30 yards because like Sarcevic and Bobby are right out on the wing, etc. I just think whatever we bring in, like I said, I've gone off on a tangent. I've forgotten what I'm saying, but I just think they need to be a little bit more compact at times so that they can get that interplay that Cardiff did when they were like ghosts and we couldn't touch them. We're not a million miles off doing that ourselves when we get our mojo going. Not all that often, but that's the most exciting football that we've seen, I think, last season from City in a long, long time. And I do think that the way he stretches the pitch so much, it does make it difficult for individuals to make a difference. So the likes of Bobby, he's sort of best quality is those little movements, triangles and stuff, and getting out of a pocket of sort of defenders. And you can't do that if you're the only person within 20 yards. So, yeah. What was the question?
You answered it superbly, to be fair. And no, I agree with you. And I feel like on that, making the pitch big, he loves his wing backs, doesn't he? And you can see that's when we sign him, it's the signings we're making. It Neufeld, we're a big one. Torre as well, up to a point. He's left wing back in it, and Ashby coming in. But it felt like teams worked it out. So early doors, Neufeld were on all the time, Neufeld, whatever. But he were on all the time, and that with a ball, Baldwin to him, and we were in, and we got a lot of goals through that. And since that's been worked out, he lost his mojo, and like you say, we've just become too easy to work out, and teams are just sort of playing through us, which Cardiff did. When they've got that extra bit of quality, we seem to come unstuck a little bit. I guess another player, we'll talk about transfers. Another player we've been linked with is a lad from Accrington, Ben Ward, is it, centre back? Supposedly we've been tracking him since last summer, but Accrington are holding out for a fee. We probably do need some covering centre halves, because I'm going to go on the record to say that I think we've probably got 4 that are up to it. Mm-hmm. Maybe 4.5 if you've classed Tory as a centre back. And who I mean by that is Joe Wright, who's probably the worst out of the 4 in my opinion. Tilt, who's fucking incredible. Pennington, but he's injured. And then we've got Baldwin, and then that's probably it, isn't it? Yeah. Would you say? Because obviously you've got Kelly, Byrne, and is that it? Have I named them all there? Have I missed anybody?
I think so. Yeah.
We've had
them all?
1 or 2 leave in the summer, didn't we? So
yeah,
but yeah, I'd agree with that, definitely.
Yeah. So Baldwin, Tilt, and Pennington, when he's fit, he's probably your best three. And unfortunately, obviously got injured and we haven't seen him in a while. But Joe Wright looked solid in certain games. And I think he's a solid addition if you need to sort of see a game out or, win lots of balls coming in the box. But I think he gets turned a little bit and is a little bit of a, I don't know, when you compare him and Tilt's got that little bit of speed, and he can recover quite well. And I don't think Wright quite gives you that. So I do think we need another centre half, is what I'm saying, to cover. Because I don't trust Kelly and I don't trust Byrne to be our sort of covering centre backs at the end of the season. Ash, any different thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, I'll be a bit controversial here. Like, I know Kelly's not perfect, but I think he's had some really good games. Like, and I think as cover, I don't think he's the worst cover. I wouldn't really want to be spending a fee on a centre back in January. Really, I think it can be spent best elsewhere. Like we say, a number 8 or a number 10.
There's a theme here, by the way. I've just spotted it. You seem to be sticking up for Ginger's Ash. Is there any reason for that?
Not Ginger. Neither is Kieran. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. That beard says otherwise, mate. Strawberry will go.
I'll back Ash up here. Just quickly, I'll back Ash up. I think Kelly's the better of the two out of him and Byrne. And I think if we were going to keep one of them, I'd definitely keep Kelly. I think he can come on.
Do you think he's a top 10 League One centre back?
No, he's not. But I think he's got certain qualities, and he's a battler, and he'll put his head where it hurts. And I think, he's not a footballer in the sense of how Baldwin is on the other side, for example. But then, when did we last have a centre half who can pass like him? So yeah, I think I could understand if he moved on, but I think he does a job when he comes in. To be fair, I don't think he's a starting centre back. I don't think he's a regular. But he did a lot last season where he came on to see games out, like you just mentioned about Joe Wright. He did that role quite a lot last year, didn't he? Coming on as a left wing back, but just playing in the middle and heading balls away. I think there's probably still a place for him, especially if, as Ash says, we want to spend the money elsewhere. So
I think it's because Alexander relies on his centre backs to actually be able to play a little bit of football, and he's just a hoof merchant. And let's be honest, and I think that's what annoys me. And I think that when you're looking at the way we play and where we set up, it's kind of what you expect from your centre halves now a little bit. And when we haven't got that in a game, when Baldwin's not playing, we seem to really struggle. And that's why I think we need that addition of somebody who can do a little bit. Al, because we've all had an opinion on it, what are your thoughts on centre backs and Kelly in general? If you say Byrne's good, by the way, I'm going to delete you from this whole show.
I think when we signed Byrne, you knew what you were getting. There was a player that could do a job in League Two, but wasn't going to do anything in League One. And I'd like to ask the rest of you guys, if by some minor miracle we do go up, how many of the current squad do you think are good enough to not just hold a place down in Championship, but actually be part of that squad, realistically?
It's a great question. Great question. I'd say 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine there being many more
young
than
players. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're looking at Point and Metcalf. Obviously, they probably have a torrid season, the first season, but obviously we can develop them. Who else would you have?
Yeah. Nerfeld, I think, if he plays like he did early on.
Yeah.
I don't think Powell can step up at this stage in his career. Sam Walker, maybe. He's not brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think we'd take Power either, unfortunately.
I'd say Torre. I'm a massive Torre fan.
Yeah,
I like Torre. Yeah. I think Torre goes a bit unnoticed because he's so consistent. He don't do anything special.
But is he steady Eddie? Do you know, is he a League One steady Eddie? And then when he gets to Championship, he will get found out?
I'd take him with us.
I think he would.
Yeah.
Just take him along for a ride. But yeah,
it's one of them.
It's players like that.
It's It's one of those. I think each team needs that sort of player. And I'm surprised he's played at lower league as long as he has. So I actually think he's better than that. And there's not many in the squad I'd say that about. I think most of them reach a level where you think, well, that is your like Andy Cook. Played what? How many games did he play at League One? Well, it's something like 16 or something like that. And he never made it. So when we let him go, it wasn't really a surprise, was it? Because he never played at that level. Whereas I think Torre, who's not played many games at that level, I do believe could play at that level.
How old is Torre?
Is he about 31?
Yeah, is he 28? Oh, is he? I thought he was younger than that. He looks younger than that.
Looks younger.
Maybe he is. Maybe he's his early 30s. But what about Baldwin? Do you think he could make the step up based on his performance? I mean, if you looked at him in League Two and somebody said that to you, you'd probably laugh at him, wouldn't you? But based on his performances this season, do you think he'd do a job in Championship?
Yeah, I think he probably would, to be fair.
Yeah, steady away.
I think it depends as well on who he's partnered with. You know, like who's he got as his middle centre back and who's he got as his right wing back. You know, it's when you talk about certain players who are brilliant when there's good players around them, and then other players who might be technically brilliant, but they can't carry a team or they can't contribute if they haven't got certain types of players. I don't know if that would depend that situation for Baldwin really, because he was a bit shaky at times defensively, wasn't he, last year? I think he's been better this year. He's had less sort of brain farts. Although, did you notice against Cardiff when it were in the second half? Oh no, first half. No, second half. He went to go try and win a ball on the halfway line, and they won it, and they were attacking. And Nerfel's like tracking back, not even looking over his left shoulder because he thinks that Baldwin's there. And then when they played it down the channel, he's like, "Oh shit!" And Baldwin was miles out of position. So yeah, I think passing ability. He's like a midfield. He's like a tall midfielder, isn't he? Basically,
people want him dead after Doncaster. They've done well, haven't they?
Yeah. Do you know? I think that Doncaster game is almost the turning point where he's probably thought to himself, "Fucking hell," you know? Because I always remember the highlight reel from Notts County. It came from Notts County, I think.
Yeah.
Do you remember the highlight reel where it was mistake after mistake?
It looked shocking, didn't it? Yeah.
And they were saying that Matty Platt and him swap, they were like the best swap in the world, and obviously look where we are now.
He's not pulled up any trees, are they? I don't think.
No, exactly.
No.
I mean, the players when they leave City, rarely, in the last sort of 15 years or so. But yeah, I think he's one of them players that I don't know. It's almost like he's matured over these since that moment and then into this season, and he's really nailed down that place. Because I think a lot of us over at summer were thinking, nah, he won't be here and he won't play in League One, and he's our best centre back. Let's be honest. Which football's it's an amazing thing. Talking about players that sort of leave a little bit to be desired and players that might leave, I'll bring Kavanagh into the conversation. There's 4 players I want to speak about when we talk about outs. Kavanagh is another one that seems to split opinion a bit, but I think more people are sitting in the Kavanagh isn't very good, but rather than Kavanagh's got something to offer. Anybody want to start on him and what he offers City, and if you think he will continue to be a Bradford City player? Yep, fire away, Ash.
To be fair, like he deserves a lot of credit for last season. You know, like when we didn't have Cook since New Year's Day, I think he did a great job. And then I think when we play him now, we're just hoofing it up to his head. So I don't really know what you expect from like a 5-foot lad. So maybe he doesn't suit us, but I think there's a player in there definitely.
I think if you compare him to Swan, they're pretty much the same position, aren't they? Really, same sort of size, same sort of. I guess what the way Graham sees him, it's the same sort of player. Contrasting seasons. Swan started really well, and then Rotherham got into him, and it seemed to ruin him. I don't know if anybody went to that, but he missed 2 absolute sitters, and then since that he struggled. Obviously, scored a lovely goal at Blackpool away the other week, but I think if you're looking at across the squad where you can maybe get rid of 1 or 2, you'd put Swan and Kavanagh together and think actually we could probably afford to get rid of Kavanagh if we're bringing somebody else in. I think his ability is in League 2 at the minute. I don't think he's a League 1 player, and he just doesn't seem to have made the step up. I know what you're saying about the balls up to him. He seems to struggle with them, but if you watch that game other week, we were playing away. I think it was Blackpool actually, and he started. Did he start at Blackpool? Am I right? Yeah,
he did. Yeah.
And he kept getting ball left, and he just looked like he didn't have a clue what to do with it. He just seemed to be panicking at his feet and then running into a player when he just had acres of space. And you're looking, thinking, if that's somebody else, we're getting half a chance out of it. And it's like he's greedy in his head, which is what you want from a forward player. but up to a point where he just don't think of anything else.
I do think he's a
he just
confident
thinks-
player, to be honest.
Totally agree. And is just lacking in it completely at the minute, and he has been all season. But like I say, major credit for last season. But I don't think if we've got the feeling that we might go up and we've got a sight set on going up, he's not the sort of player that's going to take you out of League One, in my opinion. Hobbsy, you're nodding and
Yeah,
sort of,
I was going to mention the Blackpool game actually because that one was one where, like you said, every time we had a ball out, it was to Kavanagh that game, you know, and he basically fluffed it. He either just ran into a dead end or, you know, made the wrong choice. I mean, the perfect example where Sarcevic did that volleyed pass that were he sliced it across the pitch, and it was absolute worldie of a pass. And you saw it with going to Kavanagh, and you thought, and he just ran out of ideas. And it is that sort of, I mean, it's an incredibly difficult part of football, isn't it, to carry the ball forward on your own and run 50 yards and then beat a man. You know, not many players can do it anyway. So, but then also, is it his decision making to actually try and do that when he's maybe not got that in, got that in him, not got that explosive burst of pace. I think you see a bit more Swan. He looks more threatening when he runs with the ball than Kavanagh does. So
it's more of an handful as well. Do you not think it's more of an handful, like for defenders? Yeah. You know, he's a bit hustle and bustle, and he's a bit smaller, but he gets in the face a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's got, like you say, he's got more confidence for a start than Kavanagh. You know, he clearly believes in himself a bit more. But I do think, Kavanagh's a League Two player at this point in time. You know, he's still relatively young, but I don't think he's ready for League One.
Al?
Get rid.
I'm resisting the urge to call you Shrek, by the way. I know it's on the screen as Shrek, but it's difficult. So, so you think he's just not good enough?
What does he do well? Simple question, really. He runs around a lot.
Yeah.
Presses, yeah,
but
I'd say that.
I think you're in League One, you need a bit more to your game. And that's no disrespect to kid, but we're a League One team now with, I'd like to think we've got some ambition about us, something that we haven't had, and still part of our fan base still seems to be reluctant to have. But that means that we have to bring in players that are better quality, better calibre. And he don't, if you're going to say Kavanagh or Swan, it's Swan every day of the week, twice on Sundays.
Yeah. It seems like from the business that we've done so far, it seems like we are looking, it just, because we haven't brought in the replacements in yet, but it does seem like we're trying to act more ambitiously and as to where we are as a club, like getting rid of Halliday, Patterson and Cook, but they've got to be replaced, and I think we're all looking now, expecting it. But you're right, and I think, I've got other four players here, and we'll do a round robin and see what you think. But so we'll start with Kavanagh. So you've said out. I'll say out. Ash.
Yeah, I think he'd do well to go on a loan, to be fair, and get some confidence and probably move on in summer.
That's an out. Leon?
Out for me, yeah.
Right, I'll stick with you again, and I will say Tommy Lee.
I were a big champion of his.
He loves Tommy Lee.
Cow's ass.
Smile on his face now. Look.
Yeah.
Man
I loved him at the start of the season. He's got brilliant hair.
What a goal against Cardiff. Yeah,
exactly.
He's got brilliant hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine if we had a starting 11 with great hair.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee in it.
Oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah, with that. Yeah, Stuart McCall would be in it, wouldn't
he? Yeah. No, I think Tommy Lee, he'd never found a role last year, did he? He was playing him up front. He's not a striker. For whatever reason, he played him up front. He did do the Hail Mary pass that led to the goal that got us promoted. So, again, that's something in the bank.
Which we're all, at the time, we're all thinking, what are you fucking doing when he did it? Because I did. I'm like, what a waste. But yeah,
but that's in the bank for all time, isn't it? He's part of that.
Absolutely.
He started the season brilliant, but then I think Metcalf's come in. You wouldn't drop Metcalf for Tommy Lee, would you? Even how well Tommy Lee were playing at the start of the season. He's another level. So I think Tommy Lee's either got to content himself with being a bit part player and waiting for an opportunity, or is he somebody who the club looks to move on? I don't know. We obviously can't get rid of all of them because we're going to need some squad players, aren't we? But yeah, I don't think he's out of the team unfairly. To be fair, despite the fact that he was doing well when he came out of it.
So you're
Tommy Lee in from a Tommy Lee in for his hair and pragmatism of having decent quality cover, but not a starter, not at the minute.
Yeah, and you've had your haircut, haven't you, today or yesterday?
I
just in
have, yeah.
preparation
I'm
for
a bit annoyed because you
Yeah.
can't really see it because of my headset. But
Yeah, it's wonderful.
looking pretty sharp. 10 barbers at
fantastic.
Dean Clough in Halifax. Go see Jake.
Excellent. How much you pay? How much?
$22.50.
Fuck off.
Kurds wouldn't dream
No
of charging
way.
me that on Cavendish Street. You're kidding me.
£52.50.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I go at Kurds on Cavendish Street in Keith. There's about 20 barbers now, but they're really nice lads. They charge me £12, and I also get a facial. Al, don't smile. It's
Do you now?
they put this like scrub. They put this like scrub on your face,
I
and
bet
then
they do.
they steam your face, and it's all included. And you get your nose waxed, your
Oh,
eyebrows
no, I
trimmed,
won't be doing
all
that.
included. £12. You're missing out. But it does look extremely nice. Your hair,
Thank
to be
you.
fair.
Well,
Just
Silver Fox,
just-
isn't it now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've got a rocket though. Just going back to Metcalf and what you mentioned about him. You're absolutely right in relation to him. Tommy Lee's got no chance, but I'd almost say that Metcalf, for me, starts even over Max Power in that midfield position now. I think he's that good, and he's making that much of a difference on the game that he's like. People keep comparing him to sort of Josh Cullen, maybe not the way he plays, but the impact he had on the team. But yeah, I genuinely think we've got an absolute gem there, and he's going to make us millions. Personally, I think he's that good. And the goals he scored, it's not just a one-off. He's done two pretty much like for like, hasn't he? And I mean, what a goal that were on Saturday. Al, thoughts on Tommy Lee before I go off on a tangent?
Not good enough.
Yeah.
Nice hair, as Leon said, but I don't. It's hard to pigeonhole him in a position what he does well. Not really an attacker. He's not somebody you look at and think, oh, he's a central midfielder. So I don't know. I wouldn't be too upset if he didn't go, but again, got to be a bit ruthless, and we need another decent central midfielder, because if one of them two get injured, we are stuffed. With no cover at all.
See, I quite like Tommy Lee based on some of the stuff he's done. Like I say, the goal at Cardiff was superb. Some of his movement and passing, his size and the way he plays and the way he holds the ball. It's this sort of modern midfielder that we've seen do really well in higher in the leagues, like a Bellingham. I mean, I'm not making a comparison there, but what I'm saying is he's just got that sort of same size and stature about him, but just don't quite cut the mustard. I've just dropped a spring. Don't know if that made a big rattle, sorry. But he just doesn't seem to cut the mustard. He's just not good enough. And you want somebody that's battling Power and Metcalf to make them play a little bit better. And realistically, this is probably Power's last season, really, where he can really do it. So you need somebody that's going to come in to replace him eventually. But he's been, for me, superb. He's had a couple of off games, actually, of late. But I think Max Power's brilliant. And I love the way that he leads as well. For me, Tommy Lee out. Ash, Tommy Lee.
Yeah, like he started season well. I think he's quite a good cover, really, because like Max Power's one booking away from being suspended. If that would happen, you'd have to maybe put Lee in there and Metcalf maybe a lead, because he's a brilliant player. He's but I think for his age, he's quite aggressive, and yeah, I'm just really impressed with Metcalf, to be fair.
Yeah, it's quality, isn't it? And we can speak about him to a blunt face, because I think we're all in agreement there. I'll stay with you, mate. And we'll go to George Lapsley again. Played his part in the goal, without a doubt. Got the sort of the shot away that led to Sarcevic / own goal / we don't give a fuck, it went in. So yeah, George Lapsley probably not featured a lot, has he? Let's be honest, this season. And another way, he reminds me of. Reminds me of Gilead. Do you know that sort of running round, but not a lot else sort of thing? He's got a good engine on him, but don't really seem to do much else. What would you say on him, mate? In or out, Ash?
Yeah, probably out, to be fair. I prefer Tommy Lee, and it's quite close, really. But yeah.
Yeah. Leon?
Yeah, I think you're right. He's not done out wrong when he's come on, but he's hardly had a chance, as he saw. Obviously, in training, he's not showing that he deserves to be picked above someone else. I thought he actually popped up in really good positions in the back end of last season, because he scored some important goals, didn't he?
He did.
And he just seemed to be in the right place at the right time for quite a few sort of occasions. But if you've just got to trust the manager, I suppose. In this instance, I mean, obviously, Alexander knows better than us anyway. But we're here to talk about it, aren't we? You got to trust the manager. If he's not pushing to be started, then selfishly you keep him for cover, unless you can get better, basically. So out, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know why we put him at right back against Bolton, though.
Yeah. Well, but it's like, why did he put Sibley at left wing back? It's these little decisions you're thinking, why? Because you're almost hanging a player out to dry a bit, really. As much as I'm not saying that about Alexander, but that's sometimes the way it comes across, especially when they have them sort of performances. But play the players in the positions, square pegs round holes, just never seem to work, do they? Yeah, Al, just finally from you.
Yeah, just to go back on what you just said there, Adam, you could say hanging out to dry comes in with Kavanagh as well. Because he's playing him in a position out wide in that 10 role. It's not really his role, that. And that's why he seems to look like a fish out of water when he plays him there. But to go back to your question, Lapsley, get rid.
They would have pulled clear out you.
Just get rid of
them all.
I actually like the guy. I think he offers something, but again, I think you're looking at a plan for next year. So, and there's, like you said earlier on, there's no better time to do it than now.
Do you think these players have been a victim of our success, though? Because if we were maybe struggling down at the bottom in League One, or just sort of bouncing around somewhere in the middle, we probably wouldn't be as bothered. We'd just be happy to be there and just sort of crack on with it and just keep these players. But I think the fact that we're up there and we're playing against teams with better players, and we've got this opportunity, I think that's why we're probably a little bit more cutthroat about it. Because moving on to Neil Byrne, again, he contributed last season. Let's be fair. But as far as League One goes, I just don't think he's anywhere near. And he'd be shipped off for me immediately. But I think we'll move on from transfers. I think the other thing is, obviously, we've got, what have we got now? A week? Is it a week and a bit left of January? And it seems like we've got quite a bit of business to do, to be honest. So it'll be interesting to see. I can't see more than 2 going out with what we've already lost, personally. But you'd like to see maybe 2 or 3 coming in, starting with Ethan Wheatley, because I don't know what's taking its time with that, but that's pretty much done, isn't it?
And he's been injured at it, so.
He has, yeah. I think he had a boot on, didn't he? Like an ankle boot. But I don't know if it's a short-term thing.
That's promising, isn't it?
Yeah, well, exactly. But obviously they see something in him and he must not be out for long. But maybe that's why they're waiting to actually announce it, so he's more ready to play, rather than just signing somebody who's fully injured. I don't know the inner workings of it. Okay, so I'm going to inject something a bit different now. We're going to play a game that is called Name That Player. So it's a feature where I'm going to give you clues and you've got to just shout out if you think you know who it is. Okay? So are you ready for this?
Go on.
Good, that, innit? I've just learned how to use sounds on here. So this player started their career.
Clue.
What's that?
I thought
that's
that
not a clue,
was
no. No, it's not a clue. Not a clue.
Go on.
So this player started their career at Everton in the youth setup, playing up front with Wayne Rooney.
Current City player or just any player?
Could be any player from the last 100 years, let's say.
Right.
Well, that narrows it down a bit.
Yeah.
Well, it can't be because it's Wayne Rooney, innit? I know he likes women that are older, but he's not quite.
Have you got any more clues?
Well, this is the first one to see if you've got any guesses. I know you want to win, Ash, but I'm just seeing if anybody's got a little guess that they want to throw out there.
James McFadden.
Good guess, though. Not bad.
Ooh, it's a good guess, but it's not right.
See, when you think of Everton, there'd be somebody that come immediately to my mind, but it's not that person.
It's not come to my mind.
Ages.
Oh, is that guy that Arsenal signed? Jeffers.
No, that's before that. These two won't remember Jeffers.
I remember Franny Jeffers.
Yeah.
Fox in the box.
Totally
Yeah.
Flopped in the box for Arsenal, didn't he? So do you want me to move on?
Go on.
Not getting anywhere with that one? Okay.
We didn't know if it was a City player or not, to be fair.
It's 100% a City player. So this is a player that's played for City, but he started career at Everton. Played up front with Rooney in the Everton setup, in the youth setup. Second clue is that he signed for City in 2004.
Cadamarteri.
Michael Branch.
No. Good guesses. It's you're very much on the nose with the timings. Still struggling?
Sort of.
Next clue, because you're not throwing names at me. He played 15 games and scored 3 goals for us.
Michael Symes.
Spot on.
Well,
is that with Google or without? Is that pure?
Yeah. I remember these random players.
Sure,
that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
That's a bit before their time, that, to be fair.
Off those 3, that is really good knowledge. Fair play.
I'm really proud of myself there.
A little there. So the other clues that I had, just to let you know, he scored 3 goals in total. 2 of those were against Sheffield Wednesday in the same game, and he also scored against Brentford. And then he moved on to Shrewsbury, and I think his career sort of went flat pretty much after that. I can't believe you got that. I thought it'd be real. Yeah. 10 points for you. Okay, so moving on now to Huddersfield Away at the weekend. Now, question. Big game, obviously coming up. First time we played him in the league in Yonks. Do you know, or does anybody know, the last time that we did the double over them in the league? So obviously we beat them at our place earlier this season. But do you know what season that we did the double over them last? Or what year?
Was that like 04, 05?
Is that your guess?
The only time I can remember beating them there were when Owen Morrison scored, which were about 2005, maybe.
Yeah, I've literally got his name down as a cult hero.
Yeah. Al, do you want to throw you two?
You asked me a question earlier on about when we last beat them away, and I said 2004. So I'll go with 2004.
So this is the league double, and you're right. It's the 2004-05 season. So Ash on the money again there, mate. And Leon, spot on. So away at town.
I did Google that. I Googled it earlier because I was looking at previous meetings.
Aye. Got you.
And, Andy Cook with an E scored and Windass at home.
I'm just about to say, do you know who scored at home? Away. Yeah. Got you. So you shouldn't have admitted that. You should have just played along that you're a City fucking genius. But
no. I'll take Michael Symes.
Who were there at that game? I were there at the game at their place.
Yeah, okay. Owen Morrison, what a boy. He scored against Sheffield Wednesday game after. We won there as well.
Yeah.
Did we sack him in the end?
Did we 9th? Yeah, I think so. We finished 9th that season, didn't we? I think.
If we did, probably
yeah. Oh, God, it
but
was loads of
quite topical. They gave us the whole end that year.
Did they? Did we sell it out?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
every time I've been there, we got the whole end.
Yeah.
In a Tim Top Trophy, we beat them on penalties as well.
So they're obviously just shitting themselves this time. However, I don't want to go down the route of the children on Twitter. Oh, it's embarrassing, isn't it? Do you know what? Can't stand town. For me, Leeds and one. I absolutely hate Leeds with a passion. But can't stand town either. But calling each other whatever on Twitter is just boring. However, I did quite enjoy the tweet that we put out with the dog food and the guy in the gym. I thought that was absolutely excellent. But apart from that, it's been pretty pathetic. But do you know what? It's nice to have a derby again. Obviously, we did them at our place. Bobby as well, scoring his phantom hat trick, which were interesting. Actually, fun story about that. Went down to the pub after. I'm not going to name the pub. Ash, you'll probably know which one I'm talking about. That Bobby goes to with his family, and 2 of his mates that he was talking about in the match interview, post-match, that he were giving it to in crowd. They were actually both at the pub. And they were just sort of laughing about it, and they were right good lads, to be fair. And I think that's what it's all about. You know, during the game you hate them, but then after it's all sort of laughs and whatever. But hopefully Bobby can do the same again this Saturday at their place. That'd be good. But yeah, like I say, it's really nice to have it back, the derby, and hopefully, well, I don't think we'll go in full favourites, but you'd like to think that we should be giving them a good game. Al, what are your thoughts on that, mate?
It's going to be a tough game with them having the new manager effect. Take a point right now. What the hell's that?
That's the bounce, the new manager bounce. I've got a little pad here.
Do it
It's
again,
like an
do it
80s
again.
radio station.
Go on then,
Hang
press it again. Oh,
Good that, innit?
fantastic. Made my night as well.
Got you off that, didn't it? With your phallic looking man.
I think we a point would be a good point. And I don't normally say that. I'm not saying 3 points or anything like, but I think they weren't up for it that first game. I was talking to a couple of my mates who were Huddersfield fans after the game, and they didn't see it as anything else than just another game. And you could see it in their players. They didn't anticipate that kind of big raucous following at Valley Parade. They just basically shat the pants. And I don't think you'll see it this time. I think they'll be really up for it.
Do you think I hate saying this, and it's probably going to be clipped, but do you think we treated it a bit like a final where we really wanted to win that game and we set up to win the game? The fans were up for it, like you said. And they, like you say, they just thought we were going to be a walk in the park. Do you think that that's partly to do with it? Like just the whole sort of feeling around it, because it's the first time we've had up like that in a while, like that big game. And just like wasn't right asked about it and thought they were just going to walk it.
Yeah, I think we saw it as a bigger game than what they did. They haven't played us for years, and generally we haven't been their rivals because we've not been in the same division as them for a long time. So to them to drop to our level, they just see us as that inferior club. So yeah, maybe playing them early on like we did, getting really stuck into them was a bit of a shock to them. But I think the best thing they could have done was get rid of that manager because, to be honest, he was hopeless. So that's why I'm expecting a different Huddersfield to turn up. They've got a decent squad, to be fair. There's some really good players in that squad. They brought another player in, haven't they? What, £1 million was it from Plymouth? A lad up front. So, yeah, it's one of them. If they play to our style, we're all right. I just think if teams have just not they're not stretching themselves, so it allows us to actually push them. And I think we're going to be for a heck of a battle, to be honest.
It's interesting because I think that you've sort of touched on it there, but I actually think we'll beat them because it feels to me like they're a club that are on the decline a bit. They've had the Premier League days as recent. 2019 on it, I think. They were in Prem, something like that. And they've obviously then fallen out at Championship. I know they've got an owner that's got plenty of brass, but it just feels like the whole unity of the club's like on a bit of a decline, like the fans don't seem as arsed. Whereas flip that to us, we're riding on the crest of a wave, aren't we? We're absolutely buzzing at the minute. We're selling out pretty much every away allocation. Fans are up for it. Even the club, like in general, the way that they tweet and the way they're going about things, is everything's so positive at the minute. And I think we're almost carrying that onto the pitch because, you know, Cardiff, you think about that game on Saturday. Last season, they'd have blown us out of the water, that sort of team. And to go toe-to-toe with them, I think we'll be more up for it. And I think genuinely we'll go out and beat them on Saturday. I really do. And that's just deep within me. I think we'll do it. Ash?
Yeah, form goes out window in a derby, and I just think Grant just wasn't getting out what he should have done. Like, they've got a very good squad, some very good players, and let's just hope Manning hasn't got them fighting yet. But anything can happen, can't it?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's an unknown, isn't it, really, when you've got a new manager, where they're going to set up and everything, like they could do all. Let's just hope they don't do what Carrick did at Man United against Man City. That'll be a disaster. Leon, thoughts?
Yeah, I think going back to what you started with, I think you look at their fans on this like awful Twitter couple of weeks, or X, whatever you call it, where there's a young generation who they don't see us as rivals. And I think that's pervaded the entire sort of attitude to us as a club. And I think that probably transmitted to their players. I think it's a reasonable assumption to make that they just, they didn't take into account how much it mattered to us and how much it would have mattered to them some years ago when we were regularly in the same division. But, I think I posted something on X the other day about, can everybody just shut up about this stupid rivalry about one being better than the other? Like we've both won 2 league titles since 1926. So yes, we won the FA Cup and they won the league 3 times in a row. But if you go for the past 100 years, 2 league titles each. Our last one was in 85 and theirs was in 80. And basically, they've usually been in a higher division than us throughout my lifetime, apart from the 90s and the 80s, really. But we get bigger crowds, and that's, and it's not because they're cheap, because they're not as cheap as everybody else anymore. But the fact is that they came into it with, like you said, it's just another game. Whereas to us, because the players, and like Alexander, I think he gets the club. It's a stupid saying, but I think he does. And I think the players do. And I think because like you said, we're on the crest of a wave, everybody's bought into it. It really, really mattered to beat them then. So, like you said, hopefully it's the same tomorrow. I'd take a point at this moment in time purely because I cannot be arsed with the aftermath if they beat us. My missus is from Huddersfield. I've got lots of mates who are Huddersfield fans. My nephew goes, and it's like, I don't want any of that. I just want us to beat them or like a fair draw.
Yeah.
But,
And a point would be good if you look at the fixtures that we've got coming up. It don't get any easier, so a point would be, especially away from home, you'd be thinking it's a good result, but anything but a pasting, really. I think there's a red card me in that game waiting to happen. Our side or their side, max power could be. But I really do think
been
that
staying
might
off his
happen.
bookings, haven't they? So he can get a red in that game for me.
Yeah.
As long as we're winning. As long as you don't do it in first. Well, don't do a Richie Smallwood away at Swindon. My God.
Yeah.
That were a game and a half. Al, quick thoughts on the Huddersfield, mate?
I'm just
Get
thinking
rid.
Get rid.
Just get rid of them.
Do you know what? I've changed my mind. I was going to be happy with 1 point, but no, I can't bear, like Leon said, I can't bear the thought of them coming away from that game with anything. So it has to be 3 points. 3 points, really good performance. Rub the faces in the shit, yeah. Just, really humiliate them. And then that Twitter thing will just die down then, because they can't really take the moral high ground when they've been battered, can they? Whether it actually works like that, I don't know.
On that note, when you think about this Twitter beef bollocks, we had it with Doncaster and Carlisle. We haven't seen anything from Carlisle fans for a long time now, thank God, because that were just pathetic. And the Doncaster stuff's died down as well because they're doing pretty shit this season. So we beat Town. That might all disappear with a bit of luck. But
yeah, we've got Donny next, and they'll come and beat us, won't they?
Yeah, exactly. This is what I mean. So it's pivotal, this game on Saturday for us, away from it being a derby, like from a standpoint of what games we've got coming up. We could do with it at least a point just to give us a bit of a platform because we're in such a good position to kick on. But I want to see their fans leaving. I want them to see them sneaking out. I want to see you sneaking out, all that sort of bollocks. I think it'd be brilliant. But just a performance, just to go and beat them, even if it's a 1-0 off somebody's knob end, take it, wouldn't you? 100%. But yeah, can't wait for it. Any of you going? I am. Not that I'm rubbing it in anybody, but I am going and I can't wait. Are you guys going? Yeah.
No, I missed out on tickets. I don't go away enough. I knew I wasn't going to get one, but they always hold back a tiny few for season ticket holders. I was logged on, but I didn't get a chance. I just on that and talking about are we still gonna talk about tickets points? I like the fact that they do that. They keep a few back for season ticket holders, so even if it's a minimal chance, everybody's got a chance. Like I got a ticket for Doncaster away last season. I wish I hadn't because it was awful, obviously.
Yeah,
but like half at away and left at half time, didn't they? But I got that because of that system. I just logged on, took my chances. I hadn't been to all the aways, but they'd only saved a handful anyway, so that all the proper regular away fans had the chance. So I do like the fact that they do that. But yeah, I just don't with batter them, like you say. But I will take a point, I have to say.
Sticking on it, the points, the situation, the system. I'm a fan of it as an overall thing, and I think that it's a good thing to have. They just still haven't got it quite right for me. What I mean by that is you should never be able to buy points by buying memberships. Don't agree with that at all. That's just wrong.
100%,
because
yeah.
It puts people that we're in Bradford, the demographic in Bradford. Not everybody can afford to buy a box of shit that they don't actually want just to get the points. Let's be honest.
Adam, did you buy a membership?
Yes. No, I didn't. But no, I just don't agree with it. But people feel like they have to buy it just to keep up with the points because it's impossible to keep up. The other thing is, I think that people that are travelling further afield regularly almost deserve to be rewarded as well for that. So, like a couple of seasons ago, when we played Exeter back to back, people that are going to those sort of trips should almost be first. But it's hard to police that kind of thing. The other thing is, I don't understand where this bracket has jumped so high from. It just doesn't make any sense. So you've gone from 4,000 or whatever to 4,700 or something in the matter of 2 or 3 away games, which is just ludicrous. And it's the same sort of amount of allocation. So I don't know what's going on there. Are they keeping more back or giving more away to more players' families or whatever? I don't know. I'm not suggesting that, but it just seems a bit weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've been in top banding most of the season, and I don't go to the tin pot games, so I do like lose out points that way. But yeah, I were in season ticket banding for Wimbledon, and there's 922 tickets. It don't really add up to me.
It just seems really strange, doesn't it? Even if they had like a bracket just under that were, I don't know, 3,800, for example, because that would cater for like the gap in between. I don't understand where that maths come from at all. Look, I think I'm on about 3.6 or something now, 3.5, something around that, which isn't bad. It's pretty good, really, in general, for somebody who goes now and again on 2 away games, that is. So you don't always expect a ticket, but it's nice to have a bit of a chance when you are going away more than other people for games that you really want to go to. So I think that they need to do something to get it a little bit better for next season, to be honest. Because the problem is that they've got, well, it's a problem in we're selling out all the allocations, so people are missing out that really want to go. And I think that's a shame. Al, have you got anything to add on the point system situation, mate?
It's not something that usually affects me because I don't go to that many away games now with work and things like that. But it seems that the system, for what seems to be a few flaws, is probably the fairest way you're going to do it. And that basically is the people like Ash who go to most games away. They should be the ones that are getting the call for tickets. The only problem comes when you've got more demand than supply, like the Wimbledon game, where you've got quite a lot of fans who live down south already. It'd be ideal if there were more supply, so they get a ticket. But you're going to find most of the fans that from Bradford are the ones that are going to get the tickets for down there.
Ironically, Wimbledon's not sold out yet.
Sorry, yeah, that's what I was saying. It didn't actually sell out in this morning.
Yeah. So all this fuss about nothing. But yeah, I mean, other games, so Huddersfield Away, everybody wants that. It's a hot ticket in it. We could have sold probably, I bet you, if you really could do it, we'd sell probably nearly 10,000 at that game if we wanted to. There's that much demand and how close it is and what it means. Might be a bit of an extreme. Leeds would have took more sort of thing to say, but I do think we would, at this moment in time when we're playing as well as we are, we'd take that many fans easy. And I think they've shit on us a bit with that allocation. However, it's legal. They're within the rights of doing it, of course. And having all that behind that goal, it definitely adds something, doesn't it, on the pitch? So you can understand it. But yeah, with the point system, like you all, I think it is the fairest way of doing it, but it just needs tweaking a bit to get it better. Just quickly, on how far we've come, I wanted to mention this because last time, sort of, I was really involved in doing these podcasts. We're bobbing around in League Two, scrapping to sort of get into playoffs or, looking at that last sort of promotion spot to get into League One. And now Stockport tweeted the other day about tickets and we're calling us a promotional rival. I've written that down because I thought that were really good. And just even other managers saying how good of a team we are. Cardiff's manager was saying it, and just shows how football can change in such a short period of time. And you pinch yourself a little bit, don't you, when you see where we are? But it's where we are, and we've got to get a grip of it and get behind them. But I feel like sometimes the crowd has been quite flat. When we were in League Two and we were pushing up towards, getting out of League Two, it were electric at times. But I don't know. It's really weird. It's like we don't quite believe where we are, and we just, I don't know. I don't know if anybody else has felt that, but it just has felt flat. But any points on that in general, how far we've come, the atmosphere, just fire away, guys. Leon, if you want to start, mate.
Yeah, just in terms of how far we've come, I do worry that, you know, we've not really got the foundations in place off the pitch, if you like. And Al's going to laugh now, but when I wrote an article for With the Post, I wrote about, it had been bugging me for a while. I don't know if you remember it, but I dug into what the boards were like at clubs of who you would consider to be smaller than us, but have had more success than us in the past 10, 15 years. And basically, at that point, we didn't have a board. We had a chairman and a chief exec. You know, we didn't have a board at all. I think we've got a company secretary as well. Whereas all those other clubs, they had at least 5, maybe 7. Lincoln, I think, had about 12, including, weirdly, Landon Donovan, former US international. He was like the sort of football, not a director of football, but he was hands-off, I think, but he had an input. Yeah, something like that. But the point being, we've only added David Sharp to that structure since that time. And obviously that has been pivotal. Absolutely no doubt that he's made the difference in terms of, you know, we joked before about talking about Ryan Sparks. I'm not a big fan of his, but you can't deny the fact that he's the chief executive and we've got promoted and we're going again and we've got a chance to do it again. I'm sure part of that is because he was spread too thinly. He was trying to do things that he wasn't qualified for, or having to do things that he wasn't qualified for. So I'm not having a go at the bloke in that respect. And we brought in the right people in the right roles, and that was the kind of gist of that blurb that I wrote for With the Post. You need the right people in the right roles with the right expertise, and we've got that at the minute, but it's pretty paper thin because it's still just 2 blokes and an owner, you know, and that worries me a little bit. I don't know what the answer is, but I think investment in the team would help. We've been talking about transfers. We spoke about, you know, some of the savings that we're making from wages and the cup receipts and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's kind of stick or twist, isn't it, I think. But in terms of how far we've come and the journey, it's been fantastic, hasn't it? Absolutely brilliant.
Honestly,
you know,
last season,
nothing to complain about last season at all. Yeah.
It had everything, didn't it? I mean, the way that it ended and what have you, it's incredible. And for me, I mean, a couple of seasons ago, I were shitting on Hard Shoulder coming back from Barrow after just getting a draw really late with him. You know, and that were a good result at the time. And we've come from there. And that, I don't know if you went up to Barrow anybody, but it were a horrendous ground setup and everything.
I went the time that it was called off. The time it was called off, 10 minutes before kick-off, I went then, yeah.
And then when you're there, there's nothing to do in Barrow either. Yeah. It's a horrendous, bleak, horrible place, a bit like Denham, really. But yeah, it's a strange place.
I lived in Denham.
Did you? You don't live there anymore, do you? For a reason?
No. I lived there for a year.
Yeah, very, very strange people in Denham. And there's always a black cloud hanging over it every time you drive through. It's true, is that? Honestly, same like Corn, same. Weird. But yeah, we've come a long way for sure. But I think because of that, we're not quite geared up to go again, almost as a fan base, and like you say, maybe as the hierarchy of the club. And a lot of people are saying, I saw somebody tweet, or I don't know if somebody got it from Facebook the other day, saying, actually want us to lose in the playoff final because we'd struggle going up, which is absolutely nuts to me, because you'd at least want to go up even if you came back down, wouldn't you? Surely. But I can, in a way, when you dissect it, you can understand it a bit because we probably would struggle. But we said that about League One. We didn't think we'd do as well as we did this season. And when you're a club that can sort of attract a sort of fan base, we can. I think players buy into that and buy into a club that are maybe moving up the leagues, but maybe we're not quite set up to get there. But yeah, it's like you say, as far as things are going, it's just fantastic in it to see that we're competing, and we're more than competing in League One. Anything to add, Ash, on that?
Yeah, pretty much what you've all said, really. But I do think we need to not get ahead of ourselves, because I run the fixture. I'll read them out. We've got Town on Saturday, obviously. Lincoln on Tuesday, very tough. Doncaster, say no more. Luton, Peterborough, Stockport, Wimbledon, Reading. That's literally our February fixtures. So if we come out of there and we're still in top 3, then I'll start believing.
The Grim Reaper of fixtures. I like it. No, you're right, and it is a tough run. It really is, mate, and that's why Saturday's pivotal, really, because it sort of bounces us off from it. Because what we've done this season, if you remember, every time we've sort of got beat, we've bounced back the next game and won. And we desperately need the result and not to get into a lull, especially as to where we are. But
we've
right,
not
mate,
lost twice in a row.
There you go, and it is a tough run of fixtures, but yeah, I just really hope we can get something out of Saturday. But yeah, like you say, we've come such a long way, and it's just nice to be part of these sort of games. Cardiff again, both games against them, they came and up for it. Don't know what they were humming about though. What was that all about?
That was really creepy, wasn't it? That reminded me like you ever seen Zulu? You know, the film that's Michael Caine. Just like it was like really quite unnerving, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, proper weirdos. Al, any thoughts on that, mate? On just how far we've come in general?
Yeah, such a short space of time. It's hard to believe where we were this time last year. I don't think anybody would have thought we'd be third in League One with a genuine chance to go up automatically. And I think that's what we've got to take into account now, is that we're not there by chance. We're actually doing something right. And there's a gap between us now and, is it what, 7th? So it's like, oh, we'll just take it easy. A lot of fans are saying, oh, well, I'll be happy with playoffs. But would you be happy with playoffs in the position that we're in now?
No.
Similar to like last year.
You think about the games in hand as well. There's everything's in our favour, isn't it?
I certainly don't want Town in playoffs, don't I? Unless we win.
God, no.
A neutral wants that, but nobody else.
No.
I think you could probably sum it up though. Like, you wouldn't plan to go up again, would you? You know, that probably wouldn't be your stated aim. You know, especially if we're talking about infrastructure and all that kind of stuff. And when we talked about who would be a starting player from the squad in the Championship, you know, so you'd be mad to plan for that. But then once you get in that position, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth, can you? You've got to go for it. And then just
to reply to you there, Leon, do you think that our transfer window might reflect that fact that they've not planned to go up, and they might think, actually, whatever happens is a bonus this season? Do you know, as a business, as an organisation, they might think. So will we see that reflected in who they do bring in or don't bring in?
I suppose we'll find out, won't we? But you're right. Yeah, if it's a quite a tame end to January, and there's no big statements made, then yeah, I think you might be right. It's like, shit, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Let's not stretch ourselves before we're ready. But you'd think, really, given how hard it is to get up, that you just throw everything at it this year. You don't necessarily have to overcommit financially. You know, it could be loans, couldn't it? Or, you know, like, look at, who was that guy at Millwall? I've forgotten his name now.
Macaulay Langstaff.
Yeah. He's got back in the team, hasn't he, at a really bad time. Whereas we might have had a chance, or a club like us might have had a chance of getting him for the rest of the season. And that kind of thing, bringing in proven quality, who can hit the ground running, but you're not making a massive outlay. That could be the kind of thing that got you over the line. But in terms of making big signings, I can't see Rupp doing it. I think he'll edge his bets, really, personally.
We've not really done it, have we?
Unless it's a good loan.
Ownership. Yeah, we haven't really made big permanent signings, have we? But I just think he's got to look at. I mean, I think he saw it himself, didn't he? When we went up, he was like, "Wow, what have I got?" You saw there's pictures of him like with his head in his hands on the floor when we did go up that game, and I think it really made him realise. And we actually spoke to him on that day, and he was sort of saying, "Just it's amazing, Bradford, amazing club, blah blah blah." But it just the look in his face, and you can buy into it what you want. Maybe you're just doing it because people there, fans are there, they're excited. But it just looked like something changed in him. And I know we haven't seen him as much, but we've probably seen him most this season at games than he has been since he's ever owned the club. I think he's been at more games, he's attended more games. But almost from an investment perspective as well, from him being a businessman, putting his hand in his pocket, as the people like to say, and going for it in January to get into the Championship, that almost doubles the value, doesn't it, of your club if you do want to sell it at some point. Because then you step away from the biggest league in the world, really, as far as football's concerned. So I don't know, that's a massive step away from us, but you know where I'm coming from.
It's a very good point, that though, Adam, because if you think about it, if we got promoted, we would then cease to be his problem because somebody would come in and buy us. That's where he's always been trying to get us to get his return. Whether he still gets what he thinks he's owed, or whether he's revised that now, I don't know. But the fact is that he's more likely to sell us if we get promoted, and then he don't have to worry about what he's left behind. He's taken his money out and he's had a good ride. So
yeah, and really, he'll be seen as good. Like he's left a good legacy.
Yeah, his legacy would be good. Yeah.
Yeah, because in Germany, in business in particular, they don't like to be seen as a failure in any business that they're a part of. It's like in their culture, it's like a real big thing. So I think that to leave it in a good place is definitely a positive, rather than the likes of the chap at Sheffield Wednesday or whatever who's just absolutely stripped them to bits. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, there's been murmurs, there's people trying to message me stuff all the time on the City Event account and tell you like little bits and pieces, but sometimes you don't know who knows what. Nobody really knows anything apart from the club, agents and players. But Langstaff's been mentioned. Jatto were never mentioned, by the way. That was just a want rather than a might happen. That'd be a good signing as far as I'm concerned. I think it'd be good, but I can't quite see it. I don't think he'd be the sort of player they'd go for, but Langstaff is. And I think if he's available and the rumours are right about him wanting to move up north, go and get him. Go and spend 700 grand on him or whatever, because it generally is a sort of player who would be the difference to me in getting you up to the Championship. I think he'd fire us up.
I read Salford were going to offer him 10 grand a week. I think that would probably break our wage structure.
It's mad, is that? For him to go from playing in the Championship consistently to drop to Salford. And I think he's probably on maybe 6 or 7 grand a week at the minute, 7 grand. Yeah. Would it be worth it as a career move? Probably not. But it just mental, innit, that? And where have they got all the money from all of a sudden? Because they haven't done it for a few years under these United player ownership thing. It just seems to come out of nowhere again, this going for it.
Do you think he'll only be on 6 or 7 grand in Championship?
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that, to be fair.
Do you not think?
I thought it'd be on more than that.
Don't know. People, there's this website, isn't there? Do you think maybe 10, 11? I don't know. Surely he won't go for less money, though, would he? He won't move to Salford for less money than he's on at Millwall. That won't make any sense. So sure,
no, but I can't see Salford paying the same money that Millwall are paying him.
He's not going to take a cut, though, is he? From playing regular Championship to go to League Two.
Probably just a rumour anyway.
Weird. But he's from North East somewhere up there. And what I've been told.
Yeah, I was going to say, does Gent know him?
yeah. He can tick. One of mine brought him in. But yeah, I mean, if he did, it'd be good, wouldn't it? We'd like him again. Not that we don't, but very strange that all the lads from the North East have left. On a side note, by the way, that's a strange. I mean, it started with sort of had a Harry Chapman, and then they've all slowly gone. Is there any left? I don't think there is there? I think they've all gone. Pato, Halliday, and Cook is a trio. Chapman, who else were from there? There were a couple more.
Gilly were from up there, but we were connected with him before Gent, weren't we? So
yeah, but they're all like good mates.
Playing for Carlisle. I noticed he's playing for Carlisle, isn't he?
I watched him. God, he was terrible.
Interesting that he were our marquee signing a couple of seasons ago. He was the one that put everything. Yeah. So Hughes were arguing with players, wasn't he, last night at York?
They were arguing with fans as well.
And fans behind dugout. Yeah. Dinosaur. But yeah, it's good not to have those problems in it anymore. Just a quick one, Ash, going back to what you said about Lincoln. Are they playing tonight against Burton? Or is Burton playing somebody else?
Yeah, I think it's Burton Lincoln. Let's have a look now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what that score is because, funnily enough, Burton have been doing all right of late. They've been beating and drawing against all the teams around us. So Gary Bowyer coming in clutch, talking of old managers.
1-1 currently.
Is it?
That's not too bad.
Yeah, we'll take that. We'll take a draw. But yeah, if Agent Bowyer can get a result there, that'd be even better. Now, couple of things I want to speak about because we can probably go on all night speaking about City as always. But ground lease. Now, I think it's coming due this year or next year. It's a massive decision for the club. Obviously, quite a lot of money and impact tied to it. A couple of seasons ago, or a year or so ago, somebody told us that they had to pay £1 million to bring the ground back up to what it was like when they first took the lease out, or something like that, with some ruling in the contract. Leon's nodding, so I'm going to come to you in a second because I think you probably know more about this.
I don't know that, but yeah, I'm nodding. Go.
It sounds about right, doesn't it? And then
Yeah.
when you look around the ground, they do seem to be slowly improving things over the last couple of years. They seem to be, getting new seats in. Is the hand dryer yet sorted out? That's one of the questions
Still
asked
no
for you.
hand dryer.
Still no hand dryer, so they can do all these
It
things.
is
but
in
no
the
hand dryer
cop.
for Sally.
It is in the cop, Adam.
Yeah.
There's 2 in the
it?
toilet in the cop now. There used to be 1, and 1 didn't work, and now
Yeah.
there's 2.
There
You
you
don't
go,
go in the
so-
ladies' toilet though, do you, Al?
Well,
I'm not admitting it. No.
but yeah, it just seems like they are slowly making improvements. But please sort the hand dryer out if you're listening. But the only thing that I'd say about it is a massive financial burden in it to do it. And Rupp said that he wants to buy the ground, and there were conversations ongoing. I don't think we've heard anything about that in about 12 months. Leon, because I think you probably know the most out of all of us, I might be wrong. What are your thoughts on the ground lease, mate?
I really don't think we should be renewing it. I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever. I think we either buy it or I don't know what we'd do. Well, it's easy to say that, obviously, because I don't know what we'd do if we didn't agree a lease and we've got no home. But you would hope that that's not what Sparks and Rupp are saying, that they know what they would do if they had to make that decision. Because it's, ultimately we can sort of theorize, but they're charged with sort of making the decision out there. I mean, I've been quite vocal in the past that I think it would probably be better to move and build a new stadium, but I've been told by lots of people it's completely unrealistic, and I get that. If we had the backing of the council, I think that would make it more likely to happen. And again, I'm going to sound like a right wanker here, but I did a dissertation on football grounds for my planning masters. So for anybody who doesn't know, I'm a town planner.
Oh God,
Rotherham,
Rotherham, Doncaster, those sort of grounds.
Yeah, Scunthorpe, Chesterfield. So I did some case studies, and like Chesterfield, they even had a policy in the planning local plan that said we will build a new stadium for Chesterfield, FC. And basically, the upshot is for a club like us that doesn't have a massive benefactor, like I'm not talking Rupp's kind of money, I'm talking a lot more. You're only going to get a new ground if you got the council's backing. Now, I love Valley Parade. Obviously, we're all emotionally attached to it. The older of us, even more so. But I just think I think sometimes with a planner's head rather than just a fan's head. And I think from a planner's head, there's a flat parcel of land next to Foster Square Retail Park that would just fit a stadium on perfectly. It'd be right next to the train station. It's walkable from the interchange, next to loads of parking. It's entirely sustainable. It'd boost the town centre. North Parade would still be close enough. In fact, it'd be even closer. So my sort of wish list would be a new ground, ideally just for us, not inviting any inferior Bradford clubs to come and join us. I think there was just looking over his shoulder. There was a time when I think you could have probably said we were almost equal, but we've dropped and they've dropped even further, haven't they? And I know they're back in Super League, but they're building back from nothing. And I don't think
ground shares.
Yeah, I don't think they didn't like coming to Valley Parade any more than we liked playing at Odsal in the 80s. And I don't think necessarily. I think we've moved on from that, and I think even though we're only in the 3rd division, I think we're too big for that now. I think we'd have completely different needs in terms of a stadium. So when some American guy comes and buys us, I think he needs to get the council to do some compulsory purchase orders and get us that bit of land. Other than that, we need to buy Valley Parade and not rent it. That's just my view, basically. I've talked long enough.
I'm going to disagree with you. No, you're right, and you put it across really well. But I disagree pretty much entirely. Now, for me, every single club in my sort of living memory that have done this, that have moved grounds to these new fancy grounds, every single one of them want to go back to their spiritual home, and I feel like that'd be exactly the same for us. The atmosphere itself and the way that. I don't know. The whole thing about Valley Parade, like fans love coming to Valley Parade to see it, and it's because it's misshaped and it's Tekken X, whatever you want to call it. But
4 divisions in one ground.
Yeah, it is literally every stand's a division in it, but I just could never ever see us playing anywhere else. I love going there. It's not ideal in certain ways, like you say. It's ideal from a capacity point of view for us at the minute. We don't need any more seats. But the access around the ground, access out of the ground, coming out of the Cop is horrendous. But I love it, and I just don't think it worked for anybody else when they moved. Grounds like Highbury, iconic stadiums, Upton Park or Bowling, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. It's just a regret for all these clubs that have moved. And I just don't think it'd work for us. I think it's just money spent on something that we don't need. For me, I think if we go up, he will buy the ground. I think that's almost what he's not waiting for, but I think that's almost what it hinges on, because he knows that at that point, that makes us even more of a valuable club to possibly sell on, and he's left even a better legacy. I've got him from, up to the Championship, because we were League One when he bought us. Got him to the Championship. I've bought the ground. They're in a much better position. We've got undersoil heating. That's another thing, isn't it? Undersoil heating. 5 clubs in the AFL have it, but City does. Yeah. So let's pick on them. But
to satisfy all the people
disagree with you.
Support other teams who come on our Twitter, say you Tim Pox, you haven't got undersoil heating. Yeah. No, you make a really good point, and I think I'm thinking with a planner's head a lot when I talk like that, and I've got the same emotional attachment to Valley Parade as everyone else, and I think, to be fair, last season is kind of, I mean, you asked me the question and I said what I said, but I'm going to go back on it a little bit because I'm a bit like that character in it. Do you remember Paul Whitehouse in the Fast? You remember in the Fast show they get the indecisive Dave, where they stood at the bar like, I think so. Yeah, well, no, you're right. Yeah, go on. Yeah, I agree with you, Adam. I think we should stay, but only if we buy it, or the lease, not 25-year lease. It has to be something that's structured better in club's favour. Because if you think about it, we had no negotiating position whatsoever when Gibbs Pension Fund got their hands on it. But
it was a Leeds fan.
But we do have
got a better relationship now, though, haven't we, with Gibbs?
I think we have, and I think that's to Sparks' credit, to be fair.
It is. I was going to say the same thing. It's to Sparks' credit, but Gibb. He did good things. Let's be honest. In certain ways, saved the club. If you, I don't know why we want to believe what you want to believe, but without that, we'd probably wouldn't be here. Is what we are now. But he's had a nice little slice of the cake, though. Let's be fair, that pension fund. But you're right. I think for me, a lease would be a bad idea. You've got to buy it. You've got to buy it. You've got to own it, because it's just money wasted if not. Al, thoughts on that? Because I know you were nodding along with some of the stuff Leon was saying. He's now backtracked on a little bit. But what are your thoughts on the ground sit?
Yeah, I've had this conversation with Leon before regarding where we'd build a new stadium if hypothetically the money came available, and we both agreed on the spot near the town centre. It services the town centre really well, and town centre would service the stadium really well. But
not the Wembley of the North, Al. Up at Odsall.
What, up at Odsall? God, no, jeez. It's got to be within the city centre. What's that?
Yeah.
That should be built by now, shouldn't it?
Oh, God, yeah. It's been built. It's supposed to be built for the last 30 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, TNA like putting that one out, don't they?
Valley Parade has an emotional attachment to all of us, and I'm not sure you can just dismiss that like other clubs have done. And I used to think, I'll be happy with a new stadium. And I think the older I've got, the more attached I've got to the place.
Look at that, just on that point, Al. Look at that moment on in May, like that the last kick of the game, the last day of the season, like for all this new generation of fans. And I know that there's emotional attachment for other reasons going back. Totally get that before my time, but I get that as well. But moments like that iconic moment, that you don't get that in modern grounds, I don't think. Like all that stands spilling down, so it won't be as big or anything. It'd be a ball, but I just can't see it, mate.
I wish we could do something with the Bradford end. I despise the Bradford end. I irrationally hate it, and I irrationally hate the office block. It's been there since I've been watching it. It hasn't changed. It's a bloody eyesore. it go off on here, but it ruins
No, I
the
agree.
ground.
I agree. Al.
It does. It absolutely ruins it. I've got OCD when I look at that main stand because it stops about 2/3 of the way over. So you
Look at the
if I
pitch
could
instead.
change that, it's
Well, if we're talking about improving Valley Parade, though, you're right. Because the thing that Richmond didn't get right, forgetting about the 4 weeks of madness and all that stuff, is he overcommitted on the main stand, and he couldn't bully the families on Cornwall Terrace like he did, or allegedly did, the families on Rock Terrace when he built the Cop. Because I've seen all the planning stuff. The planners actually recommended refusal of the Cop, but because Richmond got all the councillors to support him, he managed to get an approval. But from a planning perspective, the Cop is disgusting, the way it overhangs those houses. And it's the same principle that stopped us being able to go the full length. Because if you remember, before they did the upper tier of the main stand, A block was used because it had a roof over it. Whereas they can't put a roof over just A block because then people in the top tier won't be able to see the pitch in the corner. But I do think a decent architect could do something with that and extend the stand, even at a lower level, down into that corner and get rid of that office block. Do you know what I mean? There's an emotional attachment to the office block as well because it's the only bit remaining from the fire. You know, that's the only bit that the ground was there in 85. So there's a bit of that there, but it does look shit. And I think another thing that I give Sparks credit for, when he painted everything black on there, that made it look so much better.
Heatherbridge Brasserie sort of branding on it. Yeah, it did look miles better.
Yeah. And even that, you know, that cardboard tunnel that they come out of now, or hardboard or whatever it is, you know, that's an improvement, but it is daft, especially when the upper tier stops just after the halfway line, you know, and I think that's one of the reasons really why we struggle so much not attacking the Cop in the second half and why clubs use it against us. Because if you think other grounds where they've got home fans at both ends, we don't even have home fans at the sides at the Bradford end. Because there's obviously the away end on one side, and then there's just that empty bit in the offices. So there's no City fans from just after the halfway line, and I think that's a big way they could change it. But you know, if we're going to buy it and then maybe improve it, do something about that corner, like Al says. But I've just hijacked his point and waffled on.
No. That's what we do.
Could they possibly
That's what we do, mate.
A second tier on the Midland Road? I'm sure. I'm not imagining this, but I'm sure in the 80s there were plans drawn up for a double tier on that stand.
Depends on whether the foundations were built with that in mind. Because I mean, that was the issue with the old Midland roads. Because do you remember, Al, when we started going, you could still see the concrete foundations from the 1950s and 1910 Midland Road. So you know when it used to be the shed, they were just like these massive spurs of concrete and iron poking out that were just left there for like 50 odd years. So with the foundations there, and obviously it's an engineering operation, building on a hill. Imagine how big it'd look from Midland Road though if it were 2-tier.
Christ, yeah. It would look big, but I must admit, from inside the ground, it looked really good. Like I say, whether you could build it and the money it would cost would be astronomical. That's the only problem.
I quite like it. I like the higgledy-piggledy nature of it.
Yeah,
I
I
like
like
when
that,
you go to other grounds and you get that, because it's not often across England now that you get these old grounds. I mean, I don't like to talk of them much, but Elland Road's another one, and you look at Elland Road and Crystal Palace, Leeds and Crystal Palace. Yeah, arguably people always say they're the best two atmospheres in the Premier League, and I think that's to do with the stadiums being as they were, and I don't know, it's almost closer to the pitch when you look at like West Ham's new stadium. They're about a mile away, and they've got a running track around it, and they had a bar, didn't they, at West Ham at one point, like a little seating area and stuff, like before the pit. Weird. But yeah, I just think
if you notice, a lot of away fans. Sorry, Adam, I'm talking over you. A lot of away fans refer to it as a proper ground, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because it is a proper ground. Yeah. So I've totally come round to your way of thinking now. So
thank you. I tend to try and do that on these, mate. To be honest, just you will agree, sort of thing. Ash, I'll just get your thoughts on it. I can see that we're flying on with time now, and just one more thing I want to speak about, but. Just quick thoughts on the ground, mate, from yourself.
Yeah, Valley Parade's home, and it always will be for me. I can't think of what worse than getting a ground like Rotherham, Donny, Colchester. Every new ground I've been to has been crap, really, and like a carbon copy of each other.
Yeah, Donny
And I
as
feel,
well. Donny's in that.
Yeah, I think if Rupp wants to sell the club without owning the ground, what's he actually selling, really? There's no assets, is there?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I feel like he needs to buy the ground to sell it.
Yeah. And
it's just
on the
pitch,
point about the building a stadium, could you not be building a training facility in the same location or something? That's the argument people have. Would we be better getting his own training facility, buying the ground? But it's all at a cost in it. But speculate
That's
to
paying
accumulate.
private council, isn't it? That's never going to happen.
No. But there's loads of sites that could do it, and the council would probably gain out of it, if anything. But they're just Bradford Council is just not worth speaking about. Let's be honest. Okay, Graham Alexander is my final point I want to speak about now. Got us promoted. Came in actually, and some people were saying bad appointment. His second choice after the Cowley brothers, not going to do anything at Bradford. Got us promoted, doing as well as he's this season. His stock has got to be really high when other clubs are looking at managers, maybe in the Championship, League One, that sort of area. Do you think that if we don't get promoted this season, that people might be sniffing around Alexander and clubs might be sniffing around him, more looking at maybe the Championship? Do you think that he's in that bracket, or do you think he's under the radar a bit? Ash, I'll come back to you with that first, mate.
I'm not sure for Championship, to be honest. He does have his limitations. But yeah, like definitely someone else in League Two might maybe take a punt. But I can't see him going to Championship without us, to be honest.
Do you not think if he's done so well, like, because, managers these days, they seem to appoint them and then they just disappear. But rather than you're looking at a manager like him, I know it's a little bit lower down the Championship, but he's got success of getting a team promoted. And if we don't get promoted, keeping us up there and doing a pretty good job. Do you not think that his stock's quite high? Because I can't see him dropping to League Two now. I think is probably above.
Oh no, I can't see him going to League Two now. Yeah, to be fair, someone will always take a punt, won't they?
Do you think Championship's beyond him still for now? As a manager for somebody else,
never really
not for us,
managed
obviously. Yeah. So it'd be maybe after the point of us being in there that he might get that interest. Right,
to be fair, maybe somebody lower end sacking the manager, obviously, like you say, his stock's high. But I can't see him going top end.
Yeah, and he's obviously signed a 3-year deal, didn't he? Which I think was bloody really good business. Him and Luchetti in summer after the promotion, and deserved it as well. Let's be right. So we've got that going for us, and I just think that managers, when they have success at clubs, it doesn't always come around often. And I can't see him wanting to go anywhere soon. I feel like he's like Leon mentioned earlier. He seems to get the club, and he seems to really connected with fan base. And I guess now I've mentioned your name, Leon. Your quick thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, I think you're right, Ash. I don't think he's necessarily attracting attention from higher up at the minute, but if he took us up, I think he would. But I think it might partly be the stage in his career he's at. He's not like a young manager who you tend to. I've noticed that most managers have about 2 jobs in them, really, and they might make then it's the law of ever diminishing returns then. So if you just think of anybody who was a hot property at one point, and then a few years later, like they're on about 3 clubs further down. But I think he's brilliant. I think he's the first City manager that I've been able to listen to a post-match interview of since McCall Part 2. Do you know what I mean? All those guys that came in once Rupp and Rahic came in, I couldn't listen to them. I felt like they were all just talking shite, whereas he's very measured, he's very calm. Might not always agree with his decisions and stuff, but I think he's really, really good, and we're lucky to have him. But I'd hope, maybe it's wishful thinking that nobody's noticed. But I think if he got us promoted again, I think with his other promotions, they were like National League and League Two, weren't they? So he's not really managed at that level. He played at that level. So yeah, I'd hope that we wouldn't have a problem in the summer. But I think if he took us up and then we had a bad spell, I think, even if he took us up and then somebody needed him or wanted him, who knows? But yeah.
Where's he a legend at? Is it Burnley or Preston? One or, I mean, they played for both.
Preston
didn't they?
mainly, yeah.
Yeah.
He played
So is that-
Premier League for Burnley, didn't he?
Yeah. So is that one? You know, where they might go down memory lane a little bit, but clubs love doing that these days.
Get me calling.
But we've done it, haven't we?
But we used to
Get him
think,
back.
we used to think that about Parkinson and Reading, didn't we? And he's never gone there because Parkinson's a Reading legend. So
Yeah, true. Yeah, very true. He might go there next, might he? When he eventually stops with HMS Wrexham. The Talk Sport, if you listen to it, it's absolutely love them. I love this story. They haven't hardly spent any money, and then today I think they've bid 35 million or something for a striker. So yeah, that's interesting. Haven't spent any money. But yeah, I don't know. I'm in the camp of feeling Alexander is being looked at. I think that he's had success. And the other thing you've got to remember is managers out successful at Bradford City. It's a bit of a poison chalice. And everybody in the EFL probably knows that why at Bradford, doing well. They're a championship club. Fans say it all the time, don't they? So you've got to think that people in football will be saying the same. And this man's come in, not only got him promoted, he's got him absolutely firing all cinders in the league above the next season. So for me, I think his stock's high, and especially if we continue like this. Al, any additional thoughts to that, buddy?
Just to echo basically what Ash and Leon have said, that it's what he's done at the club is amazing. Money talks. So if somebody came in and offered him, maybe like a double your money type thing, then maybe I could see him going. But it's not often you build something special at a club. And that's what he's done at Bradford at the moment. He's actually built something that you can't guarantee you can build that anywhere else. And with the numbers that are coming through the gate, there's a genuine chance of getting a championship. I don't think he'd walk away from that. No, I genuinely don't. I genuinely believe he's bought into the club more than I've seen any other manager since Parkinson. He's turned the club around.
Not many managers.
No, he's
not many managers leave a legacy to the
No,
yeah, yes,
no. Parky did it. Parky turned the club around, gave the club its soul back, and that's basically what Alexander's done. He's, as a man, he's straight down the middle. He's quite humble. Like said what Leon said, he comes across as a real genuine bloke. If it's bad, he'll tell you if it's bad. I think I want to. Do you know when we first got him? I didn't want him after what he'd done at Milton Keynes. I saw the style of football he played, and I thought, I don't really want this. But I've bought into what he's trying to achieve at the club. The fact that we are, as Bradford, what we are. With a club of effort, with a club of, I know it sounds cliched, but playing for the shirt, giving 100%. I know I hate those kind of cliches, but that's what we are as a club. We're not fashionable. We're not a club. We're not a team that plays the ball around the park and stuff like that. We're a team that fights for each other. And that's basically what he was through his career. He was a sort of player that would fight for every inch of the pitch. And that's what we've kind of got now in a manager. And yeah, I'd be disappointed if he went. But I'm going to disagree with you, Adam. I don't think he's been set up by anybody to move. So,
yeah, okay. And just to come back to you on the point of how he goes about himself, he makes tough decisions as well. And you've seen that Andy Cook were always going to be an unpopular decision leaving in isolation, and in the presser with him and Halliday, I think he was probably a bit kinder to Halliday in that presser as he was to any of the players that left. And I think that's how Halliday presented himself. He came back in, hugged everybody and did what he did. But getting rid of three promotion favourites in Halliday, Patterson and Cook, a lot of managers will be under a lot of heat. And I don't think I've seen any of that really. It's more looking at what the board can bring in, because people argue, well, it's not up to him. They'll be deciding higher up what players coming in and out. No way. He's picking the team. And for me, he knows what players he wants and he plays the players that he wants to play. I don't think he's dictated to by anybody that you see in these other clubs. And I think that's a real strong thing for a manager to do. Andy Cook, everybody in the EFL pretty much knows who he is. And for us to not play him pretty much and then make the decision that he's going to go, I think that takes a lot of bollocks from any manager. and I really respect that personally. I think it's a good trait if it pays off, of course, because we do need another couple of number 9s that start scoring, because without that we're going to drop away. But yeah, I'm doing a Leon. I'm waffling. We like to do that, don't we, mate?
I was just going to jump in though very quickly and just say his man management is worlds away from previous managers that we've had. You know, we mentioned Mark Hughes a minute ago, and we were warned by fans of his clubs where he wasn't successful, like Southampton, QPR. He's a terrible man manager, and that's exactly the stories that have come out of City. He didn't speak to the players, didn't take training, blah blah blah. He's producing the same results at Carlisle. Whereas I think today, Graham Alexander were in the TNA talking about he wants players to come and talk to him if they're not happy. You know, if they're not, he said somebody came and said, you know, like, I've not been in the squad. He said, why didn't you come like a month ago?
Knock on my door.
I mean, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, because you weren't in the squad then. Why did you wait? You know, so he wants to have, he said, well, you know, we're all grown ups, we want to have constructive conversations. And I think that's clearly one of his strengths, his man management, because he's, like you say, he's got us promoted where so many have failed. He's changed the fact that teams could turn the crowd against us at home or against the players. You know, how many times have we talked about players' mentality who can't handle playing in front of that crowd, but he's managed to either sign them or, you know, shape them to be those players. And I think that's probably one of the best things he's done, and that must be down to the way he is as a person, as a manager.
Yeah, and just the last note I want to leave it on with Alexander is, I don't know if it was last season or the season before, somebody were going to the club shop or something, I don't know if it was Saturday or a Sunday, and he was stood by the 56 memorial plaque, just on his own, just sort of having a moment with it, and I thought, that is not performative. Nobody is that strange to do anything like that, and that really struck a chord with me. I thought, really like that he's gone out of his way to just have a moment, and I think that things like that makes him realise how special of a club it is, because he's respecting that. And I don't know, I think like you mentioned earlier, and I think he does really buy into the idea of Bradford as a club. Yeah, I think for a first one, there's been lots to talk about because lots has happened over the last sort of year or so, and it's the first one we've done. But yeah, fingers crossed we'll get a good result at the weekend. And just before we do finish, just get a prediction off everybody, and then we'll close up shop. So I'll start, and I think it's going to be 3-1 to Bradford. And I think there's going to be a red card, and I think Bobby will score. Ash?
Yeah, I'll go 2-1 City. Yeah, I fancy a goal for Bobby again, to be fair. There's probably nobody more up for it than him in that changing room.
Leon?
Heart says 2-1, head says 1-1.
Al?
3-1 City. What should it score? I think Humphrys will get a hat-trick.
Wow.
You heard it here first. Yeah.
That is bold. Yeah. That is very bold.
Yeah, that in your bet on Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. I wonder what odds you get on that. Yeah, like that. Humphrys that trick. We'll leave it on that. We'll leave it on that now. Champions of the